All right, Harris Creek students, we are going to read chapter 34. Wow, we are really just moving on this book. Let's see if more of this mystery gets solved today. Chapter 34. I dropped my bag onto the bench by the field and walked over to a cluster of soccer balls. She is trying out for soccer. I pulled one out of the group with my foot and started dribbling it around slowly. I glanced at a small group of girls who were also trying out for the team. They were all talking and laughing together. I went back to dribbling the ball around, focusing all my attention on it, trying not to think about the group of girls standing on the other side of the field. "Hi," I heard someone say from behind me. I stopped the ball with my foot and turned around. It was the girl I had briefly spoken with in science class on my first day of school. She had her long brown hair pulled up in a ponytail. "Avon, right?" she said. I breathed heavily from working with the ball. "That's right." "I'm Jessica," she said, tightening her ponytail. "We were watching you with the ball." My stomach sank. Of course they were watching me. I tried not to let my shoulders slump. "Oh? You're really good. How long have you been playing?" "Oh," I said, a little more brightly, "since about second grade. How about you?" "This is my second year. I'm sure you'll make the team." I hope my smile wasn't so big that I looked spastic. "You think so?" "Definitely. You have really good control over the ball." "Thanks." "You're going to love being on the soccer team," Jessica went on like I'd already made it. "It's so fun when we have away games. Last year we did makeovers on the bus and we prank called Coach Fuller on her cell phone from the back. That's her over there." Jessica pointed at a short, stout, gray-haired woman who was intensely studying a piece of paper on the other side of the field. After like the 10th time we did it, she started yelling, "I'm going to call the cops on you, you hoodlum." Everyone on the bus could hear her. She laughed. It was hilarious. Olivia filmed her on her phone. She gestured at the group of girls. I assumed one of them was Olivia. "We'll show you the video. It's so funny." "That sounds like fun," I said. "I hope I make it." "You'll love it. We also had pizza parties, and last year we had a team slumber party. Coach Fuller called us over to get started." "I guess we better go," I said to Jessica. She smiled at me. "Yeah, let's go." She motioned for me to follow her, and even though I walked beside her on the way to the coach, I felt more like dancing. Chapter 35. Dad drove me home after soccer tryouts. He had shown up when they ended like he never had any doubt I would go try out. What a know-it-all. He beamed and asked a million questions as I described every detail of the tryouts to him in the car. When we got to Stagecoach Pass, he opened the center console and pulled out an envelope. "I found this in a drawer in the steakhouse," he said. He turned the envelope over and I saw that one word was written on it. Desk. "They don't fit in the desk in the office." He opened the flap on my book bag and slipped the envelope inside. "Let me know what you find in there, Sheeps." I ran as fast as I could to the storage shed before I lost the last bit of light creeping in through the filmy windows. I slipped a foot out of my flat and opened my book bag. I removed the envelope and slid my toes inside. I pulled out a ring with 2 small keys hanging off of it. I felt like I was playing one of those impossible carnival games as I attempted to slip one of the keys, held between my toes, into the hole in the desk. It finally fit, and I pushed it all the way in with the bottom of my foot. It took all my strength to turn it, and it hurt the skin on my toes. But the key had turned in the lock. I pulled the bottom drawer out and looked inside. Another stack of papers. I pulled those out, barely able to read any of them in the failing light. But underneath the stack, lying on the bottom of the drawer, was a framed picture. I carefully lifted it out with my feet and laid it on the floor in front of me. It was of 2 red-haired women. They stood in front of the steakhouse and they had their arms around each other. The older one I clearly recognized, the other I didn't. But I could see my face in hers. She wore the necklace. And she was pregnant. Ooh, students, are you thinking, what is going to happen now? Let's find out. I slipped the picture into my book bag and carried it home. Mom was already putting dinner on the table when she turned and gave me a huge smile. "So, how did it go?" For a moment, I didn't know what she was talking about. "Oh, soccer?" "Of course, soccer," she laughed. Then her face fell. "Did it not go well?" "No, it went great." "What's wrong?" she asked. "I opened the desk," I told her. She stared at me silently. "I found a picture in there." "It's in my bag." Mom immediately lifted my bag off me and carried it to the table. She opened it and pulled the picture out. She studied it intensely. I know where it goes, I told her. We walked to the museum together, and Mom pressed the picture against the empty space in the wall. The Kavanaughs, 2004. The year I was born. Whoa! Mom let out a big sigh. After you showed Dad and me the picture of that girl, we worried maybe it was something like this, but we weren't sure, and we didn't know who would have. We even tried contacting the adoption agency we used, but your old birth certificate and any identifying records were sealed. They couldn't tell us anything. We hadn't decided what else to do about it yet. I don't know what to do about it either, I said. Do you think she knows? Mom turned to me and ran a hand down my hair. How could she not? She put her hands on my shoulder and squeezed. Do you want to go talk to her? I looked at the older lady in the picture. I needed to know, and my parents needed to know. I took a deep breath. Okay, I whispered. Do you want me to go with you? I looked up at her. I think maybe I should go alone. Mom nodded. I understand. I made my way to the steakhouse, the photo in my bag. I watched as Josephine took an order from a table and then followed her back to the kitchen. She noticed me as she placed a couple of burgers on her tray. What you doing back here, Avon? I need to talk to you. I'm awfully busy. She pushed through the swinging doors back to the dining room. I followed her out to her table. I waited while she placed the burgers in front of her customers. I need to talk to you. I told her again as I followed her back into the kitchen. I could have easily walked away, but I wouldn't let her, or my nerves, scare me off. She stopped and folded her arms. Now what could be so important that you would interrupt dinner like this? I stared at her, my heart racing. I won't leave until you talk to me. She made a big, frustrated sigh and led me to the restaurant's little office. Better make it quick, she said. I've got tables out there waiting. I placed my bag on the desk, opened the flap, and pulled out the framed picture with my foot. It was heavy. My toes trembled and it started to slip. Josephine reached out and grabbed it before it could drop. She slowly turned the picture over in her shaking hands. I know you know her, I said. Please tell me the truth. Yes. Her eyes filled with tears as she stared down at the photograph. I do. This was taken the year I was born, and I found another picture when she was my age. She looked just like me. She's my mother, isn't she? Josephine nodded. And you're both Kavanaughs, I said. She nodded again. Yes, she whispered. She was my daughter. That means you're my grandmother. She looked at me up at me from the picture. I am. Whoa, did any of you predict that? I didn't. That was a crazy twist. All right, let's keep reading. Is that why I'm here now? Are you the one who brought us here? You're here because I just wanted to see you, to meet you. I shook my head. What for? Were you ever going to tell me? No. I took a deep breath and let it out slowly. I'm so confused. So where is she anyway? Is she somewhere around here? She's gone, Josephine said. Died a few weeks after you were born. Oh, I breathed. I had always assumed my parents had given me up because of my disability. I had never considered that my mother had died. I told her it was too soon to do a show, but she wouldn't listen to anyone. No one ever told her she couldn't do something. She wiped at her eyes. No, sir, she added in a whisper. We think she had a dizzy spell because it was so unlike her to fall off a horse like that. I bit my lip. I'm sorry. Josephine shook her head and waved her hand in the air. What about my father? I asked. Josephine shrugged. Don't know. Ava never told me who it was. You see, she always wanted a baby, but never did find anyone she wanted to marry. She was getting older, and I guess she decided to take things into her own hands. She said I did it all on my own, and she could too. She was always like that. Take charge, do everything on her own. No one tell her otherwise. She's the one who named you Avon. Josephine laughed. She said men do it all the time. Why shouldn't her daughter be Avon too? She was a firecracker. When she died, I didn't know what to do. I was getting on in years already and had this part to look after. I didn't think I could provide the attention and care a baby like you needed. So I thought it would be best to let a nice family adopt you. So you just let me go, I said. Yes. Into the foster care system for 2 years. Her eyes filled with tears. I didn't think that would happen. All I thought was that a nice, loving family would want to adopt a baby like you. A baby like me, I repeated. She shook her head. Oh, I'm saying everything all wrong. I sighed. It doesn't matter now. You were right. A nice, loving family did adopt me, and that's all that matters. So how'd you find us anyway? Well, I never could stop thinking about you, wondering how you was doing. She looked down at the desk, her cheeks turning pink. So I, hired someone to find you some years back. She looked up at me like she was checking on my reaction, and then looked away again. He's been, giving me regular reports about what's been going on with you. So you've been stalking us? I cried. No. Not stalking. Just checking to make sure y'all was okay. That's how I found out your daddy had been out of work for a while when y'all was about to lose your house. We were? I asked, surprised at that information. Of course they didn't tell you. They're good parents. Yes, I said. Yes, they are. So I got this plan forming in my head to ask your daddy to apply for this job. I hadn't been managing the park for years. I just couldn't do it after. She looked down at the picture. Anyway, I prefer to be in the restaurant just working, keeping an eye on things, sort of secret-like. My old park manager didn't have anything under his hat but hair, so I was relieved to see your daddy had worked as a restaurant manager. I thought it was worth a shot. I didn't know if he'd apply. I'm glad he did. How come he doesn't know you're the owner? Oh, I go by Joe Kavanaugh for all my business dealings, but around here I'm Josephine Oakley. Gives me an air of mystery, don't you think? I stared at her, not exactly sure what to think. If they all knew who I was, they'd be bothering me about every little thing they used to. I just couldn't handle it anymore. Only my accountant, Gary, knows the truth. I prefer it that way. She ran a hand through her dyed red hair. And Henry, but his mind's going. No one else around here worked back when Avon was here, and I thought I did a good job of making sure no one would ever know who I was. She smiled at me. I should have known you'd figure it out, smart as you are, just like her. I took a deep breath. So what now? Do you expect me to call you Grandma or something? Oh, heavens no. I never even plan on telling you who I was. I'm leaving Stagecoach Pass. It's time for me to retire. Over 80 years old and still working like a dog. Stick a fork in me. I'm done. Where will you go? The Golden Sunset Retirement Community, about 5 miles from here. She nodded. Yeah, they have a swimming pool and mediocre cafeteria food. I guess it'll do. She stared at me. I don't expect you to want me in your life. I'm just glad to know y'all are doing okay now. What are you going to do with Stagecoach Pass? I asked. Worried my parents would be left without jobs again. Well, it's yours. I stood up straight. What do you mean? I mean, you own it. Right now it's under your parents' control, but when you turn 18, it's all yours to do with as you please. Are you serious? She nodded. You're my only family. It's all I can do for you. This land is worth a lot of money. I stuck my chin out. Maybe I should just sell it and leave. You can do that if it's what you want. I was quiet for a moment. No, I don't think I will. I kind of like it here. Avon liked it here too. You know, she used to play the guitar and sing. She used to do shows here for people. I play the guitar too. She smiled. I'm not surprised. So Avon, she was a performer? Oh yeah. She didn't just sing with her guitar. She rode horses in the rodeos. She loved being the center of attention. Tell me something else about her. Josephine grinned. She loved tarantulas. Oh my goodness, that was the best chapter. So now it's not a secret. We know who her birth mom was. I wonder what she's going to do with Stagecoach Pass, how she's going to tell her parents. I'm very excited. This book is wrapping up very well. All right, see you later, Harris Creek students.